Hello everyone, I'm doing Margaret Sanger by Divinity Griffin. Her experience and her advocacy. She was born September 14th, 1879 in Corning, New York. She was an activist, an educator, a writer, and a nurse who fought for the women's rights in reproductive health. She attended Claverick College and Hudson River Institute, and she was the one who basically coined the term birth control. She actually went through charges for basically standing her ground against churches and government regarding birth control itself. She actually studied European contraception and then returned to America after the charges were dropped and began her journey even further. Her saying the absolute mistress of her own body was announced then as well, basically stating that women shouldn't be forced to bear children if they chose not to. And she also faced disgrace, danger, and she was almost imprisoned. The increase in poverty and in maternal infant mortality rates created a need for the controlling in family sizes. Her mother having such a hard time with many miscarriages resulting in her, several health issues that she had. Margaret basically felt that due to those miscarriages that her mother had caused her death, which basically prompted Margaret to start her research as an obstetrical nurse to find a contraceptive to prevent other women from having the same problems along the way. So basically she just wanted to promote women's privileges and stop the cause of many abortions that were continuing to happen, because there were several women who were going through abortions that were not at medical clinics. They were mainly done in the home of someone's, and that also ended up in death for a lot of the women as well. Because back then, abortions were not known, but they were heard of, and they were illegal. So that's why there was not many as you would say, protection from being, receiving health issues outside of it, or because it was unsafe. This is just an article of Margaret Sanger defending her battle for the right of birth control, mainly explaining her reasons for wanting to have birth control legalized, and not just legalized, but she was basically raising awareness as well for the younger generation along with the middle-aged and the old. As her success, she overcame the charges, the disgrace, the imprisonment, and danger of birth control itself. She later started a magazine and was an honorary leader for the Birth Control Federation of America, later named the Planned Parenthood Federation of America, Incorporated. Millions of females were grateful for the creation of this because abortions are no longer the only option for a woman who doesn't want children or doesn't want, an addition to the children that they already have. She later, at the beginning, she actually met with Gregory Pincus, which was a biologist who was the creator of the actual birth control pill itself. And Catherine McCormick, which was a wealthy philanthropist who was recognized for the revolutionary potential of Gregory Pincus's work. And she became a major benefactor by donating $2 million back then, which in today's time would have equaled to $12 million. And Inovid was the first hormonal birth control pill that was actually created by Mr. Pincus. Her contributions basically was purpose, community, and nation. The purpose, she wanted to bring a product to the world showing that, well, women in general, abortions was something that was unsafe and something that a woman did not need to do. She wanted to give women in general an option to whether or not they wanted to bear kids. And as a community, she raised awareness. She showed the women how to use the birth control pills. She gave information as to when to take them and how to go about actually receiving the pill itself before it was legalized in New York, to name one of the states where the physicians would be able to prescribe them to the females. And as a nation, when the law passed back in 1960, when the pill was actually created, Margaret had passed away due to congestive heart failure, but the law passed itself. So, as a nation, birth control pills could be prescribed by any physician and received by the consumer. Not only that, there is also other birth control pills that could be not just the pill itself, but a contraceptive that could be purchased over the counter. Just as an example, you have Plan B, along with many others. This is also one of the sayings that was found, that was stated by Margaret Sanger. The most merciful thing that a large family does to one of its infant members is to kill it. She really had a lot of vulgar and derogatory sayings that were in her magazines, which basically was the reason why the charges were brought up among her. And with her saying this, explains a lot of why she was going for birth control pills itself, or a type of contraceptive. Her relevancy in today's time, birth control, it prevents unwanted pregnancies, and there are less abortions, and there's a lot of awareness in many places, doctors' offices. You have family centers where they raise awareness. You can receive information over the phone. You could receive information, over the internet. There's a lot of ways birth control itself could be used to its highest extent. Abortion isn't the only contraceptive a woman has when it comes to having a child. And the use of birth control is stronger now, eliminating a lot of the unwanted pregnancies, because due to a lot of the society itself, there is a lot of young women in today's time that have pregnancies that they do not want, due to either they're in school. There's several reasons why a lot of young women who may become pregnant or have become pregnant aren't able to keep the child itself. In the near future, the significance of birth control is a more common factor amongst many individuals, whether young, middle-aged, or old. The expansion of knowledge about birth control, such as programs, as I stated, many pamphlets, samples, in several areas that we may visit on a daily basis. And this basically concludes my presentation on Margaret Sanger. And this is a listing of the references that I was able to find information regarding Margaret Sanger. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.